We're upgrading carnivore noodles and I'm taking them to the next level in terms of the science, the taste, the texture, and the recipe we're going to use them in. This is gonna be a special episode, the beginning of a mac and cheese series on Chris Cookin' Nashville. We're gonna take this brand new carnivore noodle. I'm gonna show you how to make it simply, how to make it the best carnivore noodle that you've ever tasted, and then we're going to do a whole series of mac and cheese videos, different ways that you can do this. You can also use these in all of the other pasta dishes that you may be wishing you had on your proper human diet. We're starting out today with how to make the noodles, the classic baked mac and cheese, and of course, a little twist, the buffalo mac and cheese as well. Let me go ahead and grab everything. We're gonna get this together and we're gonna blow your mind with the most incredible carnivore noodles on the internet. Today on Chris Cookin' Nashville. So this upgraded version of the carnivore noodles is based off of my original recipe. So we're gonna go through it fairly quickly. It's a pretty simple thing with a few adjustments. And then I'm gonna show you how we can turn them into the most incredible keto and carnivore types of mac and cheeses. We're gonna do the classic baked macaroni and cheese first, and then I'm gonna do a twist on it and make a buffalo mac and cheese for you guys that is sure to blow your mind. So make sure you stick around and see the taste test on that one. So let's talk a little bit about mac and cheese and why I chose to do that with these incredible carnivore noodles. Mac and cheese has been around for centuries, from ancient Italy to Thomas Jefferson's dinner table. Yes, Thomas Jefferson was so enthralled with the idea of mac and cheese that he actually served it at a state dinner. And in 1937, Kraft turned it into every American kid's favorite comfort food. And I don't know about you, but I grew up with the blue box mac and cheese, and I wished that I could have that again when I was on this proper human diet journey. Now I know that I can, and I have multiple versions of this I'm going to be showing you. So today it's time to reinvent this classic comfort food with real ingredients, specifically meat. Let's grab a food processor, some chicken breast, and I'm going to show you how we make these incredible carnivore noodles simply, satisfyingly tasty, and 100% carnivore approved. This is my version of noodles done in the carnivore way. I have roughly 4 pounds of chicken breast here. I'm gonna make a double batch today because we're doing 2 different kinds of mac and cheese. I would recommend for most people, probably half this amount, so about 2 pounds of chicken breast. Now this recipe is not super exact, so if you have a little bit less or a little bit more than 2 pounds of chicken breast, that's totally fine. I'm going to trim off as much of these little white bits of fat as I possibly can from the chicken breast. I'm gonna cube it up, have it ready to put in a food processor. Now, my original recipe, one of the biggest questions I got from people was, can I just use pre-ground chicken so that I don't have to do all of the work of blending the chicken up myself? And truthfully, the answer is, if you want it to really taste great, no. You can if you want to, and it will work. But when you get ground chicken at the store, you are going to have a lot more connective tissue and fat and other things that are included in that chicken that they have ground up for you. That is going to lead to a textural difference in this that, for me personally, it's not worth it. I would much rather just do the extra work. That way it's nice and lean and you get a really smooth, consistent mixture. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is adding in a few other things, but specifically baking soda and optionally sodium citrate. So once we have the chicken breast cut up and put into the food processor, we'll add baking soda on top of it. And baking soda is a sodium bicarbonate carbonate. It's an alkaline salt. What that's going to do is help denature the proteins that are in the chicken, specifically myosin and actin, and it's going to help them unravel. Now, what that means is it's going to make it easier for this meat mixture to become smooth and emulsify. It's going to increase the elasticity. We'll also be adding some salt as that helps to further denature those proteins, which is important for this to all come together and emulsify properly. And then further on in the process, we're going to add cream cheese, which helps give us a smooth, flavorful finish on the palate. But we're also going to add in, optionally, some sodium citrate. Now, you do not have to do that at home if you would prefer to stay away from sodium citrate. Sodium citrate is actually going to help balance out the alkalinity that we will get from the baking soda. And it's going to help, again, further combine and emulsify those now denatured proteins in the chicken. That's what's going to give us that smooth, velvety finish. Think something like Velveeta or any of those other processed cheese products that are so smooth and springy on the palate. Even if you decide not to use the sodium citrate and you just go with the baking soda, you're still going to get a beautiful, elastic texture and smooth finish from doing this with this chicken. The cream cheese that we add in there also comes along with a little bit of acidity, and that acidity is going to help balance out the flavor of alkalinity that comes from that baking soda. And I'm going to have all of the amounts on the recipe card on my website for you. That is free. I will link that page of my website in the description box down below for you. Now, how picky you are about getting every last little bit of this white fat or any of the sticky, stretchy connective tissues off of your chicken breast is going to depend on the type of noodles you're trying to make. Macaroni size, you don't have to be as picky about this because the hole we're going to be cutting in the piping bag to make this is going to be large enough that it can let very tiny pieces of that pass through without an issue. If, on the other hand, you were trying to make something small like spaghetti or even angel hair pasta and you're using a very small hole in your piping bag, you want to get as much of any of this connective tissue and fat off of the chicken breast as you possibly can. And it's going to keep you from inadvertently plugging up that piping bag and making your job significantly harder when you go to make these noodles. Now that the chicken has been blended into a paste with the salt and the baking soda, we're gonna let this sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. It is an optional step. It's the best way to do it. It's gonna give the alkaline nature of the baking soda and the sodium and the salt time to do their job, to go in, denature and unravel those proteins so that they can all start to emulsify and bond properly. Baking soda has done its job, so we can start adding in the rest of the ingredients. We're actually going to do a second rest period after this. Again, it is optional, but it does give you the best texture. So the first thing I'm going to do is add in my cream cheese. It's enough to not only help neutralize the baking soda so we don't get any weird flavors, but it also gives us that smooth dairy finish. Now, if you're one of those people that says, Chris, I can't do dairy, can I do this without the cream cheese? Yes, you can. It's not going to be as smooth and nice of a finish, but you absolutely can do it. You may want to add a teaspoon or two of vinegar to your final solution just to make sure you neutralize that baking soda since you're not getting acid from cream cheese. It is a lot better if you do it with dairy though. Eggs. I'm using 1 egg per chicken breast here. And because I'm trying to get more of that springy bounce of a noodle, I'm gonna add in 2 more egg yolks. You actually, if you wanted to, could use 2 teaspoons of egg yolk powder. The lecithin content that is in those egg yolks is gonna help to give us the springy bounce of the noodles we're looking for. We're gonna go ahead and add our dry ingredients. Now, I'm gonna add these while the mixer is running, and we're gonna do that to avoid clumps. So I'm adding in gelatin. This is what's going to give us that starchy, springy feel as if we had gluten in here when it's combined with that emulsification of all of those different proteins. I'm also gonna add in whey protein isolate. Now, you could use concentrate, but the isolate is going to be better because you're getting additional dairy in the concentrate, which we don't really need. And then this is the optional sodium citrate, and this is just going to help stabilize that emulsification, keep it nice and smooth, and then we're gonna let it sit for about 30 minutes before we turn it into noodles. After 30 to 45 minutes, it is time to pipe our noodles. Our mixture has been sitting here, it is done. And this is where you can decide what kind of noodles you're trying to make. For the mac and cheese, I'm gonna make macaroni sized noodles. So I'm gonna cut the tip of my piping bag a little bit larger, which actually makes it easier to squeeze out. I do recommend double bagging just so that you make sure you don't end up blowing the side out of a piping bag. I'll link the piping bags down below that I am using in a couple of different sizes. We're gonna bring the water up to a simmer, not a boil, and then we're going to pipe our noodles directly into the hot water. As they are finished cooking, we'll take them out and put them in ice water to shock them, which is going to stop them cooking, and it's going to set those proteins and keep them nice and elastic. Now, if you're concerned about the noodles being cooked, chicken is instantly food safe at 165. And when we pipe these in here, the reason they float is because the heat at around 175 to 176 degrees Fahrenheit actually starts to break down the baking soda to sodium carbonate, water, and carbon dioxide. And that helps us not only with the texture, but it creates those little air bubbles of carbon dioxide, which is what causes those noodles to float, along with some other things that are happening molecularly as well. Once those noodles float, I'm gonna give them about 20 to 30 seconds before I take them out, just to make sure they are cooked all the way through, and then we can chop them up, and we start putting together our mac and cheese. Now that our carnivore noodles are made and they have been slightly chilled and completely drained, all we have to do is cut our macaroni one at a time. I'm totally kidding. The fastest way I have found to chop this into macaroni is to use a meat chopper and just go to town until it's roughly the size that you want. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's a whole lot faster than obsessively sitting there and cutting one macaroni piece at a time. We're gonna take the cream sauce with the cheese in it that we made earlier, pour it in here, and gently fold to coat all of the pasta. And then I'm gonna split this, and I'm gonna show you how we make the classic, and then how we turn it into buffalo mac. For the classic mac and cheese, we are just going to put our noodle, cream, and cheese mixture into a baking dish. Of course, we're gonna add some more cheese right on top after we press that down into our baking dish to get it even. And if you like that crispy topping on baked mac and cheese, a little pork rind crumbs goes a long way. Now we just bake at 375 until we get a golden brown and bubbly top. Next is the buffalo mac. We're gonna go ahead and put that in a baking dish, and I have a larger baking dish because I'm making a bigger version of this. You can use as little or as much buffalo sauce as you like. For this, I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit extra by putting it across the top. I'm gonna sprinkle a little more blue cheese over the top of this. If you don't like blue cheese, feel free to leave it out. If you love blue cheese, feel free to use more. Everything to your taste. Another optional but extremely tasty step, I'm gonna sprinkle some crispy bacon over the top with the blue cheese. And finally, we're going to finish it off by topping it with a little more shredded cheese. This also bakes at 375 until golden brown and bubbly. All right, y'all, that is Carnivore Ultimate Noodles 2.0 and 2 different methods of making mac and cheese with it. This looks and smells amazing.
Yes, it smells incredible. It looks incredible. I think you might have outdone yourself.
Oh, well, we'll find out. I guess the only thing left to do is dive in. Maybe we'll start with the regular mac and cheese, and then we'll work our way over to the buffalo mac.
Your original noodles were so good. I kind of find it hard to beat them, but let's see. Wow. I don't know how. These noodles are definitely better.
I think anyone on the street would be hard pressed to tell you that that's not a noodle.
This is better than like probably any mac and cheese I've ever eaten in my whole life. And you know I'm a mac and cheese connoisseur. The texture, man, I mean, this is just I literally don't know what else to say other than somehow you replicated a noodle perfectly. I didn't think your old recipe could be topped. I was wrong. There's something about the springiness, the texture of these, the flavor. That's a noodle.
This tastes like eating mac and cheese at any of like the country restaurants that we would have normally gone to, where you get the sides, or like a barbecue restaurants we always used to eat at, where you get the mac and cheese. That's what that texture is. Let's dive into the buffalo mac, and this is a ranch cream sauce that I made. So it's not like a ranch dressing, it's a cream sauce that will not melt. I used that on the lettuce, so you can use the lettuce to cool down and cleanse the palate in between the two. If you have a little bit of spice coming here, you got the lettuce to cool down there. If you guys would like that ranch cream recipe, I'm gonna share that with my band members, our private community, where I do extra recipes and live streams and all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to share that ranch cream recipe in there, but you could make any kind of salad or use ranch dressing if you like. This is just my take on it because it doesn't melt when it gets hot. So let's give that a shot on this buffalo mac and cheese.
Let's do it. Yeah, about it. Yep.
Man, that is good.
Again, your noodles, absolutely incredible. There's a really fancy restaurant here in Nashville that I used to go to all the time that would do a baked buffalo mac and cheese. And I used to eat it multiple times a week. It was right around the corner from my house. It's very well known in Nashville. This tops it. No doubt about it. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. I would prefer to eat this carnivore version than that version. I'm pretty sure it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So.
And if you guys are trying to figure out how to be able to do these chicken tenders, I'll link my carnivore fried chicken tender video down below. You got to go make those chicken tenders. Now, I used the whole chicken tender. You can also use the ground up mixture like I do. Like, you can do it any way you want, but the breading mixture for that, you can fry it. I did these in the air fryer, but you can do it in oil, however it is you like to fry chicken. But
your sauce, by the way, the fact that it does not melt is amazing. I've seen people like drizzle ranch dressing and stuff on top.
It just doesn't sort of stick where you put it, which is why I did this cream sauce instead.
This is by far the best buffalo mac and cheese. I mean, this is seriously like, holy cow. Dang, this is so good. This is so great for families, get-togethers, church functions. I literally think you could serve this to anybody off the street and they would not know that this is not just noodles.
And this is just the start. I have a whole list of different kinds of mac and cheese that I have been working on, different ideas, keto, carnivore, all different kinds of things with all different flavor variations, and not just mac and cheese, but other noodle type recipes that we're going to be able to do with this, because these bake in an oven so well. I can't wait to show you guys some of the stuff we've got coming, because this is just the first in a series of mac and cheese videos, and tasting this, I'm really glad we're doing a series.
Oh, I'm very excited about this. I can totally get on board. We know lettuce is not carnivore. If you don't want to eat lettuce,
don't eat lettuce.
Just don't eat it. See, that's good.
I'm 95% carnivore, but sometimes for videos like this or special occasions, I do go ahead and dip into the keto side of things. And if you want to do something like that, that salad is a really nice way to balance this mac and cheese.
The combination of buffalo chicken with the blue cheese and the bacon, oh, can't beat that. I also am really digging those, just this plain normal mac and cheese. Literally cannot pick a favorite. They are both so incredibly good. It just depends on kind of what flavor you want to lean towards.
Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. That's the brand new noodle recipe turned into a mac and cheese 2 different ways. It's the beginning of a whole series of these, so make sure you are liking and subscribing and clicking the notification bell so you know when we put other mac and cheese recipes out. All of the links you're going to need are in the description box down below. My recipe card page of my website is also linked down there, which will have all the amounts. You've got to make these noodles, because I'm telling you, these are the best not flour noodle that I have ever tasted in my life. They are incredible. You guys let us know what you think, what kind of mac and cheese you're gonna make, and if you're excited for the new mac and cheese series coming. We appreciate all of you guys watching. Shout out to the band members. You'll be getting that cream recipe for the ranch cream sauce over here. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate every single one of you. This is Chris Cook in Nashville, my beautiful wife, Ash Taylor. You guys eat your meat, especially when it's an upgraded carnivore noodle like this one. Love your life. We'll see you in the kitchen for a bunch of mac and cheese recipes. And if you like these noodles, you've got to check out this video right over here.
Cheesy, delicious goodness. Man.